All right, so this is a suggestion via a channel member. Let's go ahead and jump into the video immediately, guys. Let's see where this takes us.
Said you are asking people at home to suspend their common sense and to truly believe that rather than answering yes or no questions, rather than maybe at first going after the author of the book, Xavier Poussard, who is a Frenchman, for defamation, that would be the first thing. Why don't you launch, at least at the same time, both of these suits? I'm going to go after Candace and Xavier Poussard. They are instead only going after me for defamation and not the person who sourced this entire quote unquote rumor. There is, let me tell you.
All right, so obviously we're getting into the conversation of Candace Owens and the Prime Minister of, I think that's what he's called, guys, either way, the ruler, the leader of France here, and his wife. Okay, there's a lot of drama there, absolutely. But the reason why I'm guessing they're not going after the author of the book versus you is because you actually have a platform. The author doesn't have a very large one, right? I mean, you can actually push out a message much further than he could ever kind of dream of, let's say. I think that's probably what's going on here.
Piers, too many people who have watched this series, okay? They're watching your show now and they know that you are not accurately presenting what has happened here. But also, Piers, I think you are better than defending a pedo-criminal network, right? Wow. And that's the biggest piece of the story is how many people around them have gone down publicly. I mean, they were involved in this campaign at the beginning. Even if you removed the allegation, which I believe from the bottom of my heart, like I said early on, I would stake my entire career on the notion that she was actually born Jean-Michel Trugneux. I believe that, right? And I'm willing to go through this because it's an important story about government deception. But even if you suspended that, you are right now defending a government that lied even about the beginning of their quote unquote love story, in which his parents removed him from school because of this creepy 40-year-old teacher who found a 14-year-old student to be sexy or attractive.
Right.
This is wrong.
It is
Everything
what it
that's
is.
happening right now in France is wrong, and it is
right. I mean, like regardless of the male-female aspect of it, I don't think that's the most important part of the story here. But the real issue is the fact that look at the age difference, guys. Pay attention to that.
And as a mother, I will stand up to this, and I am confident that we will emerge as the winners of this because in America, truth is an absolute defense against defamation, and I am telling the truth.
Yeah, it is an absolute defense. And I think there are perfectly legitimate questions about how their relationship started, the massive age gap, and the rest of it. I don't dispute that for a moment. But, you know, as you say, in a defamation case, it ultimately comes down to truth mattering. And it seems to me this whole case is going to be resolved in a very straightforward way, because the obvious way to prove that you're wrong and have been systematically lying about it, if you've been doing it deliberately or otherwise, but telling a lie about her, which has obviously caused an enormous amount of hurt, is if they just produce evidence she's a woman. Do you accept if they do that, your whole case disintegrates?
Of course it would disintegrate. Well, first off, no, they would have to prove the actual malice standard in America, which would mean that we knowingly knew this. We went to them with questions and they refused to answer. That is very strange. You're saying you're a victim now because this series came out, and yet you had the power to stop the series when we came to you and said, we're not interested in telling any lies. We actually want to get to the truth of this story. And we asked very simple questions. Did you ever live as a woman named Veronique? I believe, yes, Brigitte Macron, before taking on the identity of Brigitte Trugneux, lived as a woman named Veronique. Why wouldn't you just answer that question and say no? If it gave you so much grief that this rumor was out there, why not respond to that effectively in the 10-year period that you had the time to respond to it? Okay.
I mean, guys, listen, I mean, maybe the person that we're talking about here just took that as such an outlandish statement for the most part, that she was just like, of course, I'm not going to answer that ridiculous question. That's probably what happened. I'm trying to look at both sides of the scenario here. You know, I have no dogs in this specific fight here, specifically regarding France, right? But if something is not true, generally, you probably should just be like, yeah, that's not true, bro, right? That generally immediately stops the questioning kind of going forward here. But I'm guessing the person that's in question here just was like, that's a ridiculous question, I'm not going to answer it. That could probably be it here. My main issue specifically with that union, generally when it comes to like age gap relationships, I have no problem, bro. Like specifically if they're, you know, kind of like, you met obviously when you guys were adults, I don't really care, right? But this specific scenario is very troubling, all right? Like you knew him as a kid, bro, like specifically. That's normal? That's okay? And then you putting hands on him? Oh, that's wild.
Brigitte is not a victim. Far from that, I believe Brigitte is actually somebody who has victimized Emmanuel Macron. Emmanuel Macron is pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic for letting this go on for so long. You could easily dispel these rumors. And like I said, we were asking for photos from a 30-year period of Brigitte's life. We were not asking for blood. We were asking for simple answer, yes or no. Could you show us some photos of you raising your alleged children? They failed to produce that and now are pretending that they're victims. And of
but
course,
they're under no
backfiring.
obligation.
Yeah.
Candace.
They don't really
Right,
have
they're
to.
not,
They're
but
under
don't
no
then complain and
obligation.
say you had to file a lawsuit. They contacted us, Piers. You're under no obligation.
They
We didn't
say-
reach out to them.
They
reached out to us
but
first.
Hang on. They say they made it crystal clear to you that all your claims were wrong, right? That your basic premise that she's a man is wrong. They said they told you that before. You went ahead anyway. You've carried on. Even when they launched the lawsuit, you carried on saying the same stuff, right? And it's a massive play on your part. Listen, I admire your balls. I mean, it's probably the wrong term to use given the issue we're discussing.
Right.
I do admire your balls, right? Because you're going for it and you're doubling and trebling and quadrupling down. But ultimately, your entire reputation is now directly linked, it seems to me, to whether Brigitte Macron is male or female. If she proves she's a woman,
then what?
Where does that leave you?
If she was going to prove she was a woman,
question.
she would have done it over the last 10 years. And like I said, they came to us first and we said, we will not publish this series if you answer questions. Okay. So they were on the offense in that moment. I didn't go to them and go, I deserve a response to this. They had their lawyers email us speaking about this question. And so I have been completely honest and transparent with my audience. This matters to me because I'm a mother and there are too many people around them that have been charged with, many who have admitted that they were not even just incestuous, people that molested their children that are surrounding them. Even the lawyers that they're dealing with are lawyers that defend incest, preferring it to as happy incest when children are molested by their fathers. That's their current lawyer who has attached himself to this case in France, Eric Dupont-Moretti. Everywhere you look, you see a story regarding incest and that surrounds this couple. I have presented that to the public. And if you are going to pretend that they have not lied, Piers, a couple of weeks ago, when Brigitte smacked Emmanuel Macron on camera on the plane, the Élysée Palace answered and said that it was Russian propaganda and that it never happened.
But
they lie all the time. And it's very easy to lie in France, where they have laws against speech and laws against cyberbullying and where journalists are afraid. It's not so easy to lie in America. I'm glad they brought this to my turf because now the French people are watching and cheering.
That's not Russian propaganda, guys. We can see it.
Knowing that this couple has lied to them from the very beginning. They are due for an exposure. And no, I do not believe that she is going to be able to now or willing to suddenly prove that she is a woman when she could have done that for the last 8 years.
Okay, guys. Firstly, if someone came to me and said, hey, listen, bro, I think you were born a woman. All right. I would look at it like, that's not true. But that's a weird statement to make, right? Like, but I'm not going to produce any evidence to a rando on the internet. Like, listen, I'm not calling Candace Owens a rando on the internet here, but I'm not producing a single thing. Let's, guys, step out of the bias, the echo chamber for a moment here. Just step out of it, right? And think about that for a second. Who would prove any of this to you? I'm not proving a single thing to a random on the internet, bro. I'm not. I don't care how big your audience is. It doesn't matter here. I'm not producing documents to prove a single thing to you. But now, if you want to have a conversation about that the weird age issue that happened when you knew him as a kid and all this other weird stuff, and we can have conversations about that. That's a better conversation than worrying about if this man's wife was basically born a man or not, bro. I don't care. I'm not in their bed, bro. Truthfully here. It doesn't affect me. It doesn't affect me. That specific thing, I don't really care, right? But the other aspect of the scenario, I think we're down for a massively, amazingly serious conversation coming from it, guys, okay? But all right, listen, guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. You guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. And in the meantime, I will catch you guys later, all right?